Fox News and Trump worked together and they said, we need to figure out a way to expose and humiliate Donald Trump. What? They thought they were doing something really clever, clapping back to Gavin Newsom, and they're just embarrassing Trump. It's so weird. So let me give you the context of this. Now the story of LA is just turning into a petty... Did he call? He did call. No, he didn't call. Did he call? Did he leave a voicemail? Show me the receipts. Post the TMs. Like a petty drama. So Trump said, I called Gavin Newsom a day ago. Newsom says, Trump says, yeah, Fox News goes, check this out. And then Newsom is vindicated. What? Why didn't y'all get your story? So here's the original clip that sparked this series of events.
When is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago.
A day ago. Do we know what that means, everyone? Up to 24 hours ago, okay?
Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave him a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. Los Angeles would be
It'd be gone. There wouldn't be any LA, actually. It would just be wiped off the map. Do you remember what we covered with Tulsi Gabbard talking about how some people want nuclear holocaust, but she doesn't, bravely, independently, uniquely? What was about to happen to LA would be worse than even a nuke. It would just be wiped off the map completely.
This would be not a lot different than what you saw take place in California and Los Angeles just a little while ago.
So he says a lot of death has been caused, which is tragic. Especially it's tragic that no one has died. What is he talking about? As of when I'm recording this, nobody died. But Gavin Newsom responded saying there was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines onto our streets doesn't even know what he's talking to or who he's talking to. And Trump said a day ago, today is Tuesday, June 10th. Okay, it is Tuesday when Trump said that, June 10th. So a day ago would be Monday, June 9th. But Trump says, oh, buddy, Newsom's about to get exposed. I'm leaking the DMs. I'm leaking the phone logs. And Fox News is going to humiliate Newsom. Well, in the process, it was Trump who got humiliated. Take a look at what the timestamp is on these phone logs. If you appreciate the show, clicking the subscribe button is how you support the work we do in a free way that just helps you get notified whenever we upload new videos and it suggests it in the feed. The algorithm. You've heard much about the algorithm. I try not to use that word algorithm too much because it can get cringy. The algorithm, it's working against me. Algorithm working against me. Algorithm wants to keep me down.
On his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone.
There it is.
This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday, but look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning, which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds, and then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles. So, Governor, over to you for the response.
Oh my gosh. Alley-oop dunk. You just got dunked on, Newsom.
That's next, right? We're waiting to see what if Governor Newsom has a response to the president's. Essentially, what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was made.
He brought the receipts. That it happened nighttime on June 6th, Newsom time. Trump said a day ago. Do you know who also broke this bombshell story that they talked on the phone 4 days ago? Right? 3 to 4 days ago? Newsom. That's not what he was responding to. He already confirmed that phone call happened. Trump said he called him a day ago. So Newsom is saying in between that phone call and you deploying active duty Marines, you didn't even bother to call me.
Continues to, as always, hit you hard publicly. Just 10 minutes ago, he put out another Truth Social telling you and the mayor to apologize to the people of Los Angeles. You guys go at it pretty hard publicly, but I know you talk privately. Have you spoken in the last couple of days to the president about any of this?
Yeah, we talked for almost 20 minutes, and this issue never came up. I mean, I kept trying to talk about L.A. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night. I think about 1:30 plus his time.
That was 2 days ago. He already said that. Newsom doesn't want you to know that at 1:30 a.m. on Saturday or late on Friday night Pacific time, Trump called him 4 minutes outgoing or 3 seconds outgoing, and then he eventually got on for almost 20 minutes. And then before they even did this whole debacle, Newsom had already said that. That's not what they were responding to. Come on, people. But you know there's Fox viewers. Shoo! Gavin just got crushed. Like I crush Coke cans after I drink out of them. Producer Cole does that. He slams his foot down on Coke cans and he goes,
Clean, beautiful Cole.
He played that for himself. He interrupted me with a soundbite. That's where we are now. My producers have gone rogue.
For the protests that started
After the protests, and he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone cold liar. He said he did. Stone cold liar. Never did. It was a very civil conversation. I've always wanted to approach engagement with the President of the United States in a respectful and responsible way. But there's no working with the President. There's only working for him. And I will never work for Donald Trump.
Did you mention it all to him in that?
Yeah, so I think that dispute clearly proves Newsom to be the correct one. Something else that I've been enjoying watching Newsom do is respond to Republican politicians with a very simple point. Here's Mark Wayne Mullen and a video he posted. We'll look at Newsom's reaction.
So have you guys heard what Governor Newsom just did? He literally...
Who, Mark Wayne? Newsom?
So have you guys heard what Governor Newsom just did? He literally...
Who? What is the deal with all these Republicans not enunciating?
So have you guys heard what Governor Newsom just did? He literally is suing the President of the United States for deploying the National Guard.
Why does he always have a bouncy ball in his hand? You remember last time we saw him walking down the aisle or the congressional hallways and he's just bouncing a bouncy ball?
So have you guys heard what Governor Newsom just did? He literally is suing the President of the United States for deploying the National Guard to protect his state and his city. Can you imagine this? Because he's trying to do something that the governor's not willing to do, and that's by restoring law and order. Now keep in mind, the chief of police of LA has already said that he's overwhelmed and he needs help. Governor Newsom wasn't responding, so the president did. People act like this is something new. It's not new. President Eisenhower did this in 57 and employed the 101st Airborne. JFK did this in 62 and 63, and LBJ did this in 65. So this isn't anything new. When the governor is refusing to act and protect its citizens, when a mayor of its town is refusing to act, the president has...
So we've already gone through the legality of what people are taking issue with and how Trump's invoking legal authority that normally uses the governor's request, but not. And Trump previously said he needs the governor's request, but this time he doesn't do it. And the whole point, even the LA police chief was mentioning that the federal authorities not coordinating with them and not giving them advance notice has caused a bunch of problems. And the issue is not that Newsom needed help but want to accept it. It's that the exacerbation by sending in all these troops he's taking issue with. But Republicans will frequently make the point that LA is just so unsafe. California is just a hellscape. So Newsom's making the point to a lot of them, like to Mark Wayne Mullen, saying, if you want to discuss violence, let's start with your state's murder rate, which is 40% higher than California's. Or Tommy Tuberville said, lock him up. Okay. And Newsom said, Alabama has 3x the homicide rate of California. Its murder rate is ranked third in the entire country. Stick to football, bro. Oh. I've seen a lot of people with funny formats of tweets like, I was really mad at Newsom about X until this. Or Trump is gonna hand the Oval Office to Newsom, even with people's issues with Newsom. Like, Trump is setting up a situation where Newsom is looking way cooler than normal. Like, that stick to football, bro. Yeah. Yes. And that ties in nicely to this next point. I told you yesterday that a lot of MAGA accounts are doing the thing of before mass migration, before Democrats turned everything woke and non-binary, this is what it looked like. And it'll just be a pretty blonde girl. And like, you can either have a pretty blonde girl in a bikini, or you can have, and then just a car on fire. Those are your options, America, because this is Joe Biden's, wait, what? Which they missed that part too. Trump's president. I thought he was supposed to. Okay, whatever. So now the newest one is Los Angeles in 1951 before mass migration. Let's watch. Wow. We could have had this if it weren't for migrants. Hey, do you know what was higher in 1951 in Los Angeles? The murder rate than it is now. They over romanticize past times. Do we have certain issues now that are exacerbated for different? Yes, but it was in general more violent in LA in 1951 when they took that video of the nice cars and no migrants than today. Contend with that. And again, blue states disproportionately see lower homicide rates than red states. Then you have Harriet Hagman. I think this is a good question, because we've been very clear on the show, right, about how Trump's doing all these terrible things and la-di-la-di-la-da, and anyone committing acts of violence in LA shouldn't, and they're bad, they should be held accountable. And it's a good sort of hypocrisy check with the people screaming like some unprecedented thing is happening from the riot perspective in LA, which would justify the unprecedented act that Trump is taking. A little reality check is to go, okay, cool. So you also agree when anyone being violent against police officers, they need to be held accountable. So you also believe that about January 6ers?
Out on January 6th.
On January 6th, what was your feeling about pardoning those who had been convicted of crimes related to January 6th?
I think it was absolutely appropriate, because under the Equal Protection Clause.
Bye. That's it. Then I don't want to hear from you. You don't care. That needs to be a thing, because sometimes we'll forget. We have to be content. So we're not going to go, because they pardoned cop beaters over here, we're now going to be okay with it with people over here. No, we're against it. But it's fine to check their principles too. I just can't believe that anybody would ever do such a thing. Property damage, fighting cops. So you're definitely against Trump pardoning people who did that, right? I think that was absolutely appropriate. Do you notice the flip-flop? What's the difference? What's the one difference between the two groups of people? One group was doing the violence on behalf of Trump's election lies, and you were okay with that. So I don't want to hear. I don't care. I have zero care in the world about your stance about the situation then. Then a little more from Trump's presser.
It was like it would have been. It would have been bad. Last night they had total control. If we didn't have the military in there, the National Guard, and then we also sent in some Marines, we had some bad people. We have people, they look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. And these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They're agitators.
Why can no one ever just be bad? Why do they always have to be paid? What if they're just bad and they spit? Which if I ever, let me think, have I ever gotten spat on in my face? If I ever were just out and about and I got spat on, that would be very upsetting. I would be very upset. Anyone coming to the live show, the meet and greet, please don't spit on me. Please don't. Ugh. So I'm not saying spitting is appropriate. And why is he bringing that up? There's videos of people looting. Bad. Of getting into physical confrontations with police officers. Of destroying our beloved Waymos. And he's bringing up spitting? I think spitting is a little lower on the list, nah?
We have people, they look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. And these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They're agitators. They're paid. Do you think somebody walks up to a curb and starts hammering pieces out, has all the equipment necessary, and starts handing it out to people to use as a weapon? These are paid insurrectionists or agitators or troublemakers. You can call it whatever you want. And we ended it, and we have in custody some very bad people.
There are videos of people chucking things at cars. Insane, and to jail with you. And why do they have to be paid? I'm really confused about that part. Who would be paying them? George Soros. I'm sure it's Joe Biden. He's just...
It's Joe Biden.
he's just simmering in Delaware, and he's like, folks, I'm sick and tired of these Waymos. There are no drivers. Where's the driver? You can't drive, Jack. I got one that said, hey, what you doing, Joe? I said, how do they know my name? It's all digitized, technologized. So I pay people in LA to attack them. Because you gotta kick these people in the ass.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
These are... Let me know what you think in the comments.